A long-standing bond with Zimbabwe, for whose foundation is firmly anchored in our common struggle for independence and dignity against the brutal colonial masters. The scholarship program between our two countries has played a pivotal role in the development of our human capital back home. By expanding our cooperation in areas such as science, technology, engineering, medicine, STEM, and more recently the emerging cutting energy disciplines such as cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology, we have bolstered Zimbabwe's human capital base.
The three nations trip opened several avenues for collaborations with Japan, Algeria, and Equatorial Guinea in various sectors of the economy, giving impetus to efforts meant to forge strong ties with the global family of nations towards transforming livelihoods. Bruce Jawanda, SABC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe is on course to achieve the 2025 minerals earnings target after selling minerals more than $1.4 billion United States dollars between January and June this year.
A half-year report on the performance of mineral sales released this Monday by the country's sole selling and marketing agent of all minerals produced locally except gold. The Minerals Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe, MMCZ, shows resilience of the industry in light of global market trends. MMCZ General Manager Dr. Nomsa Jane Moyo says the trend shows a commitment by the mining sector to continue producing.
Despite challenging global commodity prices, MMCZ managed to facilitate the sale of 2.4 million metric tons of minerals, valued at 1.47% increase in volume compared to same period last year. Geopolitical tensions, which have seen skyrocketing prices for gold, have had a positive impact to gold in the jewelry industry.
The parastatal is upbeat over growth prospects as it targets over $3.2 billion United States dollars in mineral sales by the end of the year.
To increase sales, the corporation will continue seeking for potential investors in antimony, which currently is fetching very good prices globally, develop new markets, as well as encourage producers to value add and beneficiate their products so that they fetch higher prices. Despite the challenges, the corporation is positive that it will achieve its $3.2 billion target by year end.
Zimbabwe is pinning hopes of increased mineral sales on anticipated surge in demand for resource commodities in Asian economies. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Elsewhere, smart water metering is reshaping the future of water management, with over 15,000 families and businesses now connected to the digital system across the country.
A caution almost defining every household in this community in Karoi's Chieza high-density suburb. Rewind 5 years when this community was on postpaid water meters. Their approach to managing the water resource was indifferent, prompting challenges of high water bills. The introduction of smart water meters, an initiative implemented through a partnership between the Zimbabwe National Water Authority ZINWA and Hellcrow Water, has changed their story.
But because my bills are dark, but records knows.
Installation of 15,000 smart water meter units in Karoi, Guruve, Kokwe, Wange and Voma is proving the efficacy of this solution. Almaya Mbalo, a resident in Kokwe's Njelele suburb, is one among many realizing the benefit of this system. He has left his workstation at the close-by center to make a purchase of his water voucher before heading home to recharge. He tells us Njelele residents bore the heavy yoke of buying water at $4 United States dollars per 200 liters from water merchants due to the scarcity of the commodity. Theirs are stories of hope.
When I got connected, it proved to be the best. When I juice my water, even if I travel, sometimes I go to my rural home, spend 3 months, 4 months there. I come back, still my water bill is paid for, and I still have got my water in the system.
Globally, the smart water meters are being adopted to protect the water resource as they enable real-time monitoring and consumption control, a benefit visible for communities now on the grid.
Iye zvino ndakuziva kuti ndikanobhadhara $10 ndikapiwa 6 dzangu cubics ndinoziva kuti ndichashandisa kusvika papi nemacubics angu ende ndonyatsoona kuti mari yangu ndashandisa ndikagutsikana.
Amadzimai vandochora kuseni mvura yacho obva watokiya kuitira kuti vana vakasvika kavhura mvura yapatepa apo every drop is counts unoitora sauchi mvura unojusa mvura zvienderana nokuona kuita mari yako.
Harare is looking to replicate these successes as it readies to roll out prepaid water meters after an agreement between Harare City Council, Hangshu Liaison Technology Company and Helcro Electrical under a build, operate and transfer model. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News.
Zimbabwe's election as chair of the steering committee for the World Health Organization recognized a maturity level 3 national medicines regulatory authorities is expected to improve access to affordable and quality medicines for the citizenry.
The Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe, led by Director General Mr. Richard Rukwata, who spearhead collaboration among top-level regulators from Egypt, Nigeria, Tanzania, and other maturity level 3 countries. The aim is to streamline drug registration, reduce duplication, and open regional markets to local pharmaceutical manufacturers.
When we have a trustworthy regulatory authority that is actually able to exercise its mandate, it means our neighbors can also trust that the products that are produced by our local industry are of good quality, are safe and efficacious. One of the tenets of the global benchmarking tool is that a regulator with robust systems must be able to treat all players in their market the same way.
The benefits extend to ordinary citizens who often face limited options and high prices. Zimbabwe's pharmaceutical sector has grown by over 50% since 2021, largely driven by local investment and government support, but access remains a challenge, with some medicines costing double what they do in neighboring countries.
We are very much excited about these developments. We believe it will introduce more transparency, more efficiency, more effectiveness in how we undertake and execute our mandate as the National Medicines Regulatory Authority.
Harmonized regulation across borders will not only streamline medicine access, but also build confidence in locally produced drugs, advancing the African Union's vision of increased local production and greater health sovereignty across the continent. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO Director General, Ms. Audrey Azoulay, has pledged the organization's continued support to national development.
The UNESCO Director General, Ms. Audrey Azoulay, who arrived in the country this Monday, met with the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Ambassador Frederick Shava, at his offices in Harare. Emerging from a closed-door meeting, Ms. Azoulay spoke on the scope of her visit.
We work together on many of the government's priorities for inclusive education, for science, technology, innovation, artificial intelligence. Also, of course, the preservation and promotion of the extraordinary cultural heritage of the country. And I'm looking forward to visiting the great Zimbabwe site. We are also working with Zimbabwe on the history of the movement of liberation in the region. And we're going to start a new phase of this cooperation that will support researchers, universities, young researchers from the region to continue to work on this extraordinary, rich and regional history of the movement of liberation.
Ambassador Shava said Ms. Ozoulay's visit will allow her to appreciate the strides made by Zimbabwe in science education and preservation of culture.
We have agreed and confirmed that the programs that UNESCO is running in Zimbabwe will continue to be run and to the best of their ability in terms of the heritage sites, in terms of the schools programs, in terms of all the other aspects that the ROSA office has.
Ms. Osley, who is on a week-long visit to the country, is set to meet President Emmerson Mnangagwa, visit the Great Zimbabwe World Heritage Site, and attend the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Convention on Wetlands, COP15, in Victoria Falls. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
Meanwhile, close to 3,000 delegates from around the world have registered to attend the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands in the resort city of Victoria Falls this week.
Victoria Falls epicenter of global dialogue on wetland conservation. With just hours to go, the iconic destination is set to host the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Contracting Parties COP15 to the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands, bringing together nearly 3,000 delegates from more than 170 countries. Deputy Director of Communication and Advocacy in the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Wildlife, Ms. Joyce Chapungu, told ZBC News in Victoria Falls this Monday that the delegates include the heads of state, government ministers, scientists, wetland conservation experts and other stakeholders.
We have received an overwhelming response from the globe to this conference. Originally, we had targeted an audience of about 2,000 delegates, but we have since surpassed that figure. And we have people coming in from all over. Remember, this convention has 172 contracting parties. So we have people coming from all the contracting parties. As we speak, people are coming in.
The week-long conference will feature high-level policy discussions, scientific panels, and field visits aimed at showcasing Zimbabwe's efforts in wetland conservation.
We're also going to have a field visit to Kasibo Wetland in Wange. Kasibo Wetland is one of the flagship projects that we have in Matabeleland North. When we look at wetland restoration projects, we have a number of such projects across the country, but for Matabeleland North and also for the proximity to Victoria Falls, we have considered Kasibo Wetland, where we are going to be showcasing our efforts in wetland restoration.
Local businesses and tourism operators are gearing up for the influx of visitors, with the event expected to provide a major boost to the local economy and further position Victoria Falls on the global environmental map. This year's convention comes at a critical time. Nations are confronting the effects of climate change, biodiversity loss and increasing water scarcity challenges that are also affecting Southern Africa. The conference will run from the 23rd to the 31st of this month. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
Now, the Pan-African Parliament, PAP, has escalated its push for continental dialogue and legislative action on the historical injustices that continue to affect Africans and people of African descent globally.
The fifth ordinary session of the sixth Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament is officially opened here in Midrand, South Africa, with deliberations centered on the African Union's theme for this year on reparations. Reparations are meant to address historical injustices that continue to impact the socio-economic and political landscapes of African nations and the lives of people of African descent worldwide.
I wish to appreciate the AU for having provided leadership in this year 2025, where we need to address issues of reparatory justice. We are really humbled that the AU's leadership has elevated this matter, and we are hoping that we are going to find a lasting solution to all the people of African descent and issues of colonialism.
PAP President Chief Fortune Charumbira outlined PAP's vision in identifying actionable strategies that contribute to the African Union's broader objectives of peace, economic integration and climate change.
We are also going to finalize and deepen the whole issue of model law on gender issues. But now we not only talk about elimination of violence against women, equal opportunities, equity. We will come up with a model law which we share with member states, very, very practical steps. The issue of climate change, Africa has not been united, or whenever they are trying to become united, they are also divided. We are going to come up with concrete steps so that we present this at the AU conference of heads of state on climate change. We also are going to be engaging on the issue of artificial intelligence as a continent.
Chairperson of the African Union Permanent Representatives Committee, Professor Migos Cesar Domingos Wembe, reflected on the ability of PAP to amplify narratives of a continent yearning for justice, democracy, and a genuine plural representation.
The relevance of the Pan-African Parliament goes beyond its institutional role. It lies in its ability to give voice, to echo the silences of history, and to express the aspirations of a continent that yearns for great justice, democracy, and plural representation.
Meanwhile, the Pan-African Parliament has signed a memorandum of understanding with the African Peer Review Mechanism aimed at promoting good governance, democracy, peace and sustainable development on the continent. The fifth ordinary session of the 6th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament also saw the swearing in of 11 new members of the Pan-African Parliament. John Nandara, ZBC News, Midrand.
The government, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, has launched the Gender Equality Seal for public institutions aimed at integrating gender equality standards across various organizations.
Positioning Zimbabwe as one of the gender equality champion countries within the Southern African region, UNDP's flagship program, the Gender Equality Seal for Public Institutions, was officially launched this Monday, with the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority ZIMRA becoming the first institution in the country to undertake the certification program.
UNDP is coming to bridge the gap of educating our small and medium enterprises, not them alone, but across the whole tax divide, because we know that without the taxpayers, we are not able to surpass our targets. So we actually have picked hundreds of ZIMRA staff that are going to go around the country to train all our staff so that we'll be able to educate and reach out to our clients.
In the context of Zimbabwe, really the focus is around helping ZIMRA to really support them to systematically integrate gender into their processes, procedures, as well as policies. Most importantly, to apply the gender lens and make sure that within their mandate, gender is also, integrated and upheld.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Senator Monica Mchangwa, said the initiative aligns with the national strategy to advance gender equality in Zimbabwe.
The issues of gender are not just moral issues. These are strategic steps which any country should take for economic development of any country. So we are happy that ZIMRA is one of the first public institution in our country to adopt this gender equality seal, and we can see that they are ready now to work with everybody, more so the SMEs. SMEs, we are playing a very critical role in the economic development of our country.
Achieving gender equality remains a top priority for government, as demonstrated by the ratification and domestication of all major international, regional and sub-regional gender equality instruments. Section 17 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides for gender balance in all spheres of life, with Section 52 providing for equal rights, equal treatment and equal opportunities in political, economic, cultural and social spheres. Festus Mkunguru says, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, the Office of the Vice President, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, has disassociated itself from a purported business indaba dubbed the Wetland Business Dinner. The said dinner had gained traction on social media amid claims that the Vice President will attend the indaba as the guest of honor on Friday. In a statement, the Office of the Vice President quashed the social media claims, stating that the event has nothing to do with government and violates government protocol. Well, there are more stories on our website. You're free to visit that website. It is www.zbcnews.co.zw. We're also available on social media, on Facebook, on X, also on YouTube. The handle there is ZBC News Online.
Here's a look at stories we may still expect after the break. And I'll look at business news. Masvingo province set to showcase investment opportunities this month.
And in sport, we'll look at Moors suffering their third defeat of the season. What does this mean in terms of their chances of a PSL title? Well, we'll find out when we return with these stories and more.
Life can sometimes seem like it's on pause, each day blending into the next. You're left wondering when the excitement will return, when the adventure will begin. That first sip awakens the wild rivers within, where every moment is an opportunity to explore, discover, to live. Welcome to the world of Zambezi Lager, where the mighty Zambezi flows and greatness abounds. For the Zambezians, it's all.
Did you know? The Cyber and Data Protection Act imposes penalties on organizations that fail to report data breaches within the stipulated time frame. This message is brought to you by Potras. Visit our website.
As Fidelity Gold Refinery, we are your partners for growth. We are driven by a desire to enhance the growth of gold deliveries by small-scale and large-scale miners. We operate under the Mutapa Investment Fund with a mandate to provide a secure and efficient gold trading platform, ensure compliance with national gold trading regulations, support Zimbabwe's economic growth through responsible gold mining. Zimbabwe is on course to meet the target of 40 tons of gold by end of 2025. In 2024, we attained 36.5 tons of gold. We continue to maintain an open channel for continued improvement of our service offering. Fidelity Gold Refinery is committed to be the refinery of choice for all gold producers. We are ready to facilitate the growth of the gold industry. Fidelity Gold Refinery, your trusted gold partner.
Join us at the Midland Show 2025 from 14 to 17 August as we celebrate a century of excellence under the theme Climate Change Resilience, Smart and Sustainable Futures. Show highlights: Thursday, thrilling judging of states; Friday, business conference and the exclusive exhibitors reception dinner; Saturday, Freeman HKD lighting up the stage after the official opening and the prize giving ceremony with our esteemed guest of honor, stunning helicopter displays and the dazzling fireworks finale. Sunday, Master X electrifying performance, high energy main house and Mr. and Miss Midland Show finals. Mark your calendars. Usasare, see you there.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. ZANU-PF has intensified campaigns in various wards where by-elections will be held early next month.
With less than 12 days before the Epworth Ward 6 by-election, ZANU-PF Harare Province has moved a gear up with the campaign trail offering health services to the community. In partnership with NES-AIDS for Economic Development, more than 3,000 people have received free medical care. ZANU-PF Harare Provincial Chairperson, Comrade Godwill Masimiremba said the target is a landslide victory. NES-AIDS for Economic Development Chairperson, Comrade Tendai Munetsi said the organization will continuously support party programs to ensure victory is guaranteed.
Basa ratiri kuita muWepworth
nderekuti tiri kutsigira kansela Bushe asi tichivatsigira tikuvatsigira nechirongwa chekurapa vanhu chekurapa vana.
Over the weekend, ZANU-PF members embarked on door-to-door campaigns with the electorate appreciating the boreholes and road rehabilitation programs being implemented.
Zvandaitirwa pano pa command center yakavhurwa namai munangagwa panapa nhasi unotawane mvura
tanga tisina mvura especially pachibhorani pana pa booster panapa panga pachinetsa mvura muno mu booster area.
Comrade Masimurembwa said embarking on a door-to-door campaign has been necessitated by the availability of resources.
Takawaniswa motokari dzekushandisa, munoona mota dzose idzi dziri kufamba tichiita door-to-door campaigns. Vatagwirei vakadoneta mota kuHarare kudarikidza nemabasa apresident akanaka. Comrade Tagwirei mwana wemusangano akaimpower Harare Metropolitan Province.
By-elections for Ward 6 are scheduled for the 2nd of August with 3 candidates, including Civilized Bushe of ZANU-PF, Alice Nyahunzi of the MDC, and Peter Nyapetwa, an independent candidate, battling it out.
In Mashonaland East Province, the ZANU-PF provincial leadership, led by Chairperson Comrade Daniel Garwe, this Monday descended on Chivu to garner support for the party's candidate, Comrade Tafatso Mkani, in the Ward 10 by-election set for this Saturday, with the party expressing confidence of a resounding victory.
Murora, Rambuya, Tezara, Nasetu, iye zvese zviri papa. Kasukidzei nhasi kuti mangwana kazokurerai.
Ndinoda kungokutendai vakagara. Mauya mukatidzidzisa, mukauya mukaitaurira vanhu kuti endai munobvunzira baba Mukani. Nesuwo tese tikunobvunzira baba Mukani ndizvo. Musi munhu achimodzoka. Ini navo hazvinetimonizando dzinasigede ameni.
Handetiita basa mwanakomana wangu vanhu vese vabvuma nemadzimambo ari pano izeni ana baba redu baba Kota vatoita soga nesoga ukubhabhatidza iwe kuti upinde muchibhuji. Saka tonobatana iwe neni.
Comrade Mkani will battle it out against the independent candidate Mr. Tawanda Muchenje for the seat which became vacant after the death of Councillor Amos Reza.
Meanwhile, the ruling ZANU-PF party has intensified preparations for its annual National People's Conference that will take place in October in Manicaland province.
The ruling party's annual National People's Conference will run from the 13th to the 18th of October in the city of Mutare. In a media briefing in Harare this Monday, ZANU-PF Secretary for Information and Publicity, Ambassador Christopher Mchangwa, emphasized Manicaland Province's pivotal role in Zimbabwe's liberation struggle.
This time we descend upon Mutare. That's where the conference will be, which takes cognizance of the evolution of the Zimbabwe struggle and the different roles which were discharged by the people of Zimbabwe as they fought a modern scientific people's war. This is an important event on the calendar of the party.
He noted that the upcoming conference will once again underline the province's resurgence as a strategic trade corridor.
We are now going to Manicaland for the party conference at a time when there is a new vibrance about Manicaland as the gateway of Zimbabwe's trade to the Indian Ocean and to the trade. We also want to say Manicaland is important for the realignment of the Zimbabwe economy.
On the party's guiding philosophy, Ambassador Mchangwa reiterated ZANU-PF's deep-rooted populist principles anchored on grassroots participation.
We are a party which has got a long institutional memory about where we came from, and along the way we acquired a corpus of knowledge about how we administer our party from experience from the past. And then furthermore, we guard our populist traditions. I always remind people here that we are the first liberation movement which was on the verge of bullet to office in 1979, Tawina, military. But we decided to opt for ballot to office Kapinama Assembly Point.
Ambassador Mchangwa also highlighted the strategic importance of recent diplomatic missions undertaken by President Mnangagwa to Equatorial Guinea, Japan and Algeria, where engagements centered on broadening Zimbabwe's international partnerships. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
Deep in the heart of Buhera lies Dzapasi Assembly Point, once a hive of military activity, now a quiet historical site holding untold stories of Zimbabwe's liberation struggle. In today's Heroes feature, we focus on the significance of the Assembly Point.
Hidden in the quiet landscape of Buhera is Dzapasi Assembly Point, a site of great historical importance, yet still yearning for preservation and more support after the recent construction of an information monument. It is here at Dzapasi where thousands of freedom fighters gathered in 1979, awaiting demobilization after the Lancaster House Agreement. At the site, the Zanla commander, Comrade Solomon Mjuru, popularly known as Comrade Rex Nongo, and the Rhodesian Army commander, Betty Bernard, ceremoniously shook hands, and the British flag, the Union Jack, was lowered, followed by the raising of the Zimbabwean flag, one of the first ceremonies heralding the birth of an independent Zimbabwe. Veterans of the liberation struggle, Comrade Joseph Mukutiri, whose Chimurenga name was Comrade Maparanyanga, and Comrade Brighton Guteni, spoke on the history of the place.
Pasati paitwa integration exercise kuti tisangana nezipura nevekwa Smith. Saka Union Jack yakaburisirwa pano pamuonde wamunoona uyu.
Panzvimbo ino yakadai makomo yakatenderedzwa nemakomo. Makomo maive nema-OP, anonzi ma-observation post, manga muine futi dzemakumbo dzemavhiri ndo dzanga dzakatichengetedza.
With thousands of freedom fighters stationed at Dzapasi, a hospital became an important facility, and today its remnants remind the freedom fighters of a place where many lives were saved. One of the freedom fighters, Comrade Son Zuma, believes the construction of a hospital and other infrastructure will ensure the history of the important historical site is preserved.
Imba yamunoona iri seri kwangu iyi ndo chachichi referral point chatingati chipata 3 yanga iri kamukadoko, asi kuri kwokuti zvatadzikwa uko vose vaibva vangorifewa kuuya ipo panapa, kutaura kuti zvichigona the public works vaigona kuti zvichida vapuwe basa vauye pamusha uyu pagadzirike zvivo necherechedzo yenzvimbo yakachengetwawo varwendo worusununguko.
Despite its national significance, Dzapasi remains largely untouched. Locals, including war collaborators, are yearning for more support towards infrastructural development at the assembly point to transform it into an attractive national heritage site.
Izvo zvikutaura kwatiri kuita kudayo mune ninga irapo ine pfuti. Tiri kuda kuti pano panzvimbo inoi pave nechipatara. Chipatara chinonzi Dzapasi Hospital. Chikavakwa ichocho poiswa
Dzapasi experienced fierce battles between freedom fighters and colonial forces. For freedom fighters, preserving Dzapasi speaks to preserving memory, honoring sacrifice, and safeguarding a key piece of Zimbabwe's journey to freedom, whose story must never fade. Kenya's Chifuje, ZBC News, Buhera.
And we'll continue our countdown to the Heroes Day. And now let's cross over to our Montreal studios, where Arthur Evans is on standby with more bits of news. Arthur, great to see you, always.
Thank you so much, Butler. Our first port of call is to the Midlands province, where medical services have been brought to